Okay, today's learning goal. I can explain that the volume of a cylinder is found by multiplying the area of its circular base by its height. Okay, there are several things we're going to go over today, but it shouldn't be too stressful. All right, the first thing you need to do is get your mathematics chart out. So if you do not have it out, get your binder and get it out and pause me. So we are starting today with the volume of a cylinder, and we're going to be looking at the formula. Okay, so in 8th grade, we have our volume of a prism or a cylinder, which a cylinder or a prism, and our formula is V equals big BH. Now you need to understand, big B is not the same as little b, all right? And so if you notice, you have a cylinder, and the big B is what we need to understand what big B is. So the first thing we are going to do, which I don't even have at this moment, so I have to go get a set of notes. So sorry. Is we are going to describe the volume of a cylinder formula. Okay, so we're only going to be talking about the formula really today. We're not going to be solving for the volume. All right. What is the formula for the volume of a cylinder? Well, if you look at your mathematics chart, it says it is V equals big BH. So we are going to write that right here. V equals big BH. Okay. Here are what the letters represent in the formula. V obviously represents volume. So we are solving for volume. Okay. Big B. The reason I say big B is because it is written as a big B always. Okay. And the big B represents the area of the base. Okay, no matter what formula you see a big B in, it always represents the area of the base. When I ask you what is big B, I don't want you to say it's the base. No, it's not the base. That is an incorrect statement. It is the area of the base. So, since we're looking at cylinders, we need to look at our formula chart again and say, well, let's think about what is the base on a cylinder? What shape is it? And remember I said area, so we're going to go to our area part of our formula chart. And in here is where we are going to find everything we need for any shape that is our big B. So we are going to ask that you write a big B in this area. Remember, we've got other things on this formula chart, and as we go, we will continue to add some things, but not a lot, okay? So, we need the area of the base, and on a cylinder, your base is a circle. So, with that being said, we need to go to the area of a circle, and the area of a circle is found by doing pi times r squared. So, on our piece of paper here, we are going to write big B, the area of the base. The base is a circle, and we find the area of a circle by using pi times r squared. Okay? So, h is the height of the cylinder. Okay, so that's what V, big B, and H represent. Now let's look at it on a cylinder. So it says label the parts of the cylinder. So here is your base. Now it has another one down here that it's sitting on, it's just you don't see it. So we're just going to this is your base. It is a circle. Okay, so here is your base. Okay. Here, from here to here is the height. of your cylinder. Okay? Do you remember what this is? Halfway across the circle. I hope you remembered it was the radius, which is our R in the formula. Okay? Now, sometimes, and we're going to look at this, they give you a circle, and they give you all the way across the circle. Do we remember what that is called? And we really don't need a little dot here, okay? Just needs to be all the way across. That line all the way across a circle is a diameter, okay? Why is this important? Because sometimes they give you a diameter, and we're just going to represent it with a D. And sometimes they give you halfway, which is the radius, or an R, okay? And you have to know how to go back and forth. So if you have a whole way across, how do you find halfway across? I hope you said you take your diameter and divide it by 2, and that will equal your radius. So another way I'm going to write that is D divided by 2 equals R. Okay? All right, so we've looked at the parts here. Now let's turn our page over. And let's practice just writing the information about the cylinders that we have. Okay? So we've been given this cylinder. Is this an R, which is a radius, or a diameter? I hope we're gonna label them. And the height, they just gave us the height. So the first thing we're gonna do is write our formula. This step is not negotiable. V equals big BH. Then I want you to put an arrow from your big B, and you're gonna write pi r squared times h, because that's your h, and you're going to write an arrow down from your h. Then we're going to write pi times, our r is 4 squared times the height. Okay? Now, that's all great. Okay? Do you see it works just fine? And you could put it in a calculator, but we would always use the pi button, not 3. Okay? So we don't know what the height is, so we really can't solve this. We could do 4 squared times pi times h, and so we would get 16 times pi, and then we'd have that next to h, and that would be one way to show the formula. Let's look at this one. We'll get a little bit closer here. Now, this 12, I know it's here in the middle, but they're indicating that this is a D. So how do we find R? Well, we take D divided by 2 equals R, right? So we need 12 divided by 2 is equal to 6. I hope you put that in your calculator. Then I'm going to write my formula, non-negotiable, V equals big BH. I'm going to write an arrow from my big B. And for a cylinder, my area of my base is represented by pi times radius squared, and then I still have to multiply that times the height of the cylinder. Okay? So now I'm going to plug in what I know. I have pi times, what's r squared? Well, my r is 6, isn't it? 6 squared. And, I want you to identify it, and I didn't do it. H is equal to 16, so I would multiply that times 18. I'm sorry, 18, not 16. Okay? And there is your formula. Did I ask you to solve it? No. Could I solve it? Yes. Okay? Let's look. We're just looking at the formula today. Okay? Here's another one. So, even though it's sitting sideways, the circle is still my base. So this is my height, and this is halfway across, so it's my R. Okay? V equals big BH. You have your big B. You're going to do pi times r squared times your height of your cylinder. So I've got pi times, what's my r? 5 squared times, what's my height? 13. It's that simple. We're not solving it today. Tomorrow we will, or Monday, we will put it in the calculator. So it says now you try. So I want you to try following the steps. Your teacher's going to be coming around and looking to see how you're doing. And you will fill this out, not with me, on your own. Okay? Pause me, please, and do that. Then turn me on and see if you got it right. So, that's a D. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So my R is equal to 8. This is my height. I've got V is equal to big BH. Big B, pi times r squared times my height. Pi times my r is 8 squared times 20. Okay? Alright, today you have a short practice. Alright? Very short practice describing the formulas. So you are going to do 2 practice problems. And then you are going to come over here and you are going to be doing radius and diameter. I would do the radius and diameter first. You're going to find the radius and the diameter for each of these circles. Okay? Then on the back side, you're going to write and describe the volume of a cylinder. Okay? When you finish with that, my students, you will have a activity to do. And you're going to need an activity sheet describing the volume, and you will need 1 set of cards. There are green and orange cards. Okay? So you're going to open your packet, and your green cards are labeled 1 through 6. So you're going to find number 1 to do the first box, and you are going to lay it out. And then there are orange cards, and those orange cards have different formulas on them with different numbers. So you are going to need to find the one that matches your cylinder. And when you find the one that matches your cylinder, you will write it in your box. Okay? Now, on this, it's just about writing the formula down so that you get the formula down. Okay? Monday, we will actually start solving these. And after you finish this, you have a quizzes to do. So get to work, stay busy, and have a great day.